How to clone a VAG Simos PCR2.1 ECU using Magic Motorsport Flex. Step-by-step explained. Hey everyone, I'm Hussein, and welcome back to Baabji Motors, your ultimate garage of knowledge when it comes to automobile diagnostics, ECU programming, and the latest tech that helps you master modern vehicles. Before we begin, here's a quick but important note. This video is purely for educational and informational purposes. Everything you see here is meant to guide technicians, learners, and automotive enthusiasts. We strictly follow fair use guidelines. All images, clips, and references belong to their respective owners and are used only for explanation and learning. Please always follow your local laws and manufacturer instructions when working on vehicles. Now, let me ask you something interesting. Can you really clone a VAG Simos PCR2.1 ECU using the Magic Motorsport Flex tool? It's one of those questions that pops up in almost every tuning forum and technician group. Stick around till the end of this video because we'll not only answer that, but also go through every step you need to know, including a few pro tips most people don't mention online. Let's dive in. When it comes to cloning a VAG Simos PCR2.1 ECU, there are mainly two approaches: transferring the immobilizer data or performing an IMMO off solution. Both methods work, but each has its own requirements and safety considerations. Let's start with the transfer Immo data method, which is the more professional and preferred route for most tuners and workshops. To begin, cloning is absolutely possible using the Magic Motorsport Flex tool, but there's a catch. The new ECU must have the same or a higher hardware version than the original. So before doing anything, check the hardware number printed on the sticker, something like HW23, HW32, or similar. Matching or exceeding this number ensures compatibility and prevents software-level conflicts. Now, here's how the process works in a simple, step-by-step manner. You'll need to perform a full read of both the original ECU and the donor ECU. That means reading both the EEPROM and the flash memory completely. The Flex tool can handle this with ease. Once you have both full backups, the next step is to submit these files to Magic Motorsport Support through your MMS account. This is one of the best features of their ecosystem. They offer cloning assistance for free as long as your subscription is active. Once the files are sent, their support team will process them and provide you with two new files: a customized EEPROM file and a special SGO file ready to be written via OBD. They'll even guide you through the flashing process step by step, ensuring everything goes smoothly. After you've written these files into the donor ECU, the cloning is complete. Your new ECU will now function exactly like the original one. All immobilizer and vehicle-specific data transferred successfully. It's important to note that if you skip transferring the data from the old ECU to the new one, you won't achieve a true one-to-one clone. The car may crank, but won't start properly, or worse, you might get locked out due to mismatched security data. Now, there's also an alternative way if you prefer a more hands-on approach. You can read the full backup from both ECUs yourself, then use a PCR calculator tool to generate a new EEPROM file. Once that's ready, write the new EEPROM and the old flash data to the donor ECU. Afterward, you can code the ECU using diagnostic software like VCDS or any compatible diagnostic tool. This manual route takes more effort, but gives you total control over the process. But what if you don't want to deal with transferring immobilizer data at all? That's where the IMMO off method comes in. In this case, you get a second-hand ECU with the same part number as the original and perform an IMMO off modification. This disables the immobilizer function altogether, allowing the ECU to operate independently of the vehicle's security system. While this method works and is sometimes necessary, it's not always recommended for vehicles still in use, mainly because it compromises the car's theft protection system. So only do this in test or off-road applications where it's legally permitted. Now, there's a third scenario, one that's often overlooked but incredibly clever. Some technicians have successfully cloned PCR2.1 ECUs without performing a full flash by combining tools and methods. For instance, by unlocking both EEPROMs using a KTAG clone tool, then using PCMFlash Module 53, with the same connection type as KTAG to read the MCU ID. As long as the hardware numbers match and only the software differs, you can simply copy the immobilizer data to the donor ECU, then reapply the original coding. Finally, perform an update using Magic Motorsport Flex, and you'll have a perfectly working cloned ECU without needing to reflash the entire firmware. This approach saves time and reduces risks since you're not touching unnecessary partitions of the memory. It's a hybrid method that combines the strengths of KTAG, PCMFlash, and Flex, ideal for advanced users who know their way around ECU data structures. What's really impressive here is how Magic Motorsport Flex makes cloning more accessible even for intermediate users. The support, the guided process, and their active community mean that even if you're new to ECU cloning, you're never left guessing. It's not just about having a powerful tool. It's about having the right backup when something goes wrong. So, can you clone a VAG PCR2.1 ECU with Flex? Absolutely. You just need to follow the right method. Ensure your hardware versions are compatible, and take your time during the read/write steps. Whether you go for a full Immo transfer, an Immo off solution, or a partial data swap with hybrid tools, success comes down to precision and patience. Now, let's wrap it up. Remember the question we started with. Can you really clone a VAG Simos PCR2.1 ECU using Magic Motorsport Flex? The answer is a definite yes, provided you follow the proper steps and keep your hardware versions aligned. Personally, I think this process is a great example of how far diagnostic technology has come. What used to require deep-level engineering knowledge is now accessible to workshops around the world, thanks to smart tools and dedicated support teams. I'd love to know your thoughts. Have you ever tried cloning a PCR 2.1 ECU yourself? What tools or methods work best for you? Drop your answers in the comments section. I read every one of them. Here's a quick fun fact before we go. Did you know that the PCR 2.1 ECU was among the first in the VAG lineup to implement encrypted flash protection, making early cloning attempts nearly impossible without specialized tools? Flex and similar systems changed that game completely. If you found this guide helpful, help us grow Baabji Motors by hitting that like button. Our goal is 10,000 likes and 1,000 comments. It costs nothing, but helps us reach more passionate technicians like you. Don't forget to hype this video, share it with your fellow tuners, and of course, subscribe to the channel so you never miss another deep dive like this. Until next time, keep learning, keep experimenting, and, as always, happy diagnosing from Baabji Motors.